Okay, welcome everyone to our NewGenP webinar, Deliver Value Continuously with Ardi Karaj. My name is Peter Monkhouse, and we're happy to be hosting these webinars monthly. We'll talk more about our one coming up in May at the end of this webinar. But let's get started without further ado. So over to my colleague, Joanna Tivic, to introduce Ardita and talk more about what we're going to be doing in this webinar. Joanna?
Thank you, Peter, and thank you, everybody. Ardi, I'm so happy that you're here. We've been talking about this for so long. So I'm always happy to work with you. I mean, you are an experienced coach. I was looking at your LinkedIn profile and I looked at, what you've been doing. Great job with Agile Ontario, building the community. Not easy, as you know, to build a community, spend the time, give away time, for the community and making sure things happen. So thank you so much for that, and for your leadership, for these discussions around product. So tell us about what we will be discussing today.
Yes. Something completely different. I'm kidding. So we'll talk about value. But before I get there, I really want to thank you, Peter and Joanna, for inviting me in your community. I think our communities need to merge and need to know about each other, because there are several communities in Toronto, and I think we have such a good group of people that bring always very interesting topics and interesting conversations that can always help someone wherever they are in their journey. So can you see my screen right now?
Yes.
Perfect. So deliver value continuously. It is the topic that it is something that I keep always bringing everywhere I go with everyone I work, because I think we need to be more value driven. This comes because I think until now, organizations have been very much effort driven. Everything, when it comes to money, everything is compared into, okay, what is the effort required for this much money? And we are slightly seeing the shift into what is the value I can get out of this money. And I want to talk about value because often organizations don't even know where to begin with. What is the value? So I'm going to bring a couple of things that I have used in my life and used with my clients. So a little bit about me. I don't know. I like to work with product teams. I like to be helping them organize, structure, not just the teams, but also processes and the way of thinking on toward product-driven organizations and lean, removing waste, and then continuous delivery. I am a founder of the Industrial Logic Canada, which is the branch of Industrial Logic here, and continuous delivery is something we live and we really believe in. So I'm going to start with something called Kano model. Does anyone know about this? Have anyone heard about this before? Just put an icon or something, like, how about you give thumbs up if you have heard of it? So Cheesy has heard. Anyone else? Yeah, Joanna, okay. So there are some of you that have heard. That's great. So why am I bringing Kano model? It has helped me before organize my thoughts when it comes to a product team making decisions about features. The way Kano model works is like this. Let me move a little bit, all the windows here. So Kano was a professor in Japan that he believed that it doesn't matter for us to work hard on everything. We need to work hard on certain things and be smart about it. So he created this model based on a lot of surveys and a lot of research that he did. And he looks at it by customer satisfaction is this y-axis, and functionality of a product or a feature is the axis. So in this, if you take a functionality, all the way on the left, it is the functionality doesn't exist. And all the way to the right, it means that the functionality exists, is strong, and performs really well. While the customer satisfaction one is on the down here, it is customer is not happy. And on the very top, customer is extremely happy. If we look at the features that we have on our products, usually features can fall into one of these categories. The purple one here are the must-be features. These are the features that if they are not existing in the product cannot even be in the market, doesn't have a place to be in the market. It's like a car having wheels, right? If the car doesn't have wheels, it's not a car. Nobody goes to buy a car and says, I also want 4 wheels with it. It's part of it. So those are features that are must be. If they are not there, the customers are not happy. If they are there, the customers are indifferent, because it's kind of like, yeah, I expect this to be there, right? So it's not a big deal. The yellow line represents features that are now in competition, and you are competing in the market for their performance or for their, user experience and so on. So this is where a lot of features are most of the time. And then is that baby blue line, the attractive or delighters. These are features that the customers don't know that they want them, but when they see them, they love them. So based on this, the customers can switch a product just because you have this feature. Now, we need to be careful with these kind of features, because very quickly they fall into performance or even must be. As an example, people used to buy cars because who had, I think Honda first had the cup holder, the coffee cup holder. And people went and bought car because it had a cup holder in it, right? That was the fancy thing. Now that is a must be. Every car has it. So very quickly, an attractive feature that you have invested a lot of money and probably you are keeping it secret, it falls very quickly and the competition catches up. So you need to know how much to invest on it and for how long do you expect to stay on top of the market and win clients with that. So that is one way for you to look now inside a product on deciding the features and where the value of your feature is coming from, right? So this is one, and I want you to keep this in mind because the next one I'm going to show, it's about the game that we are playing. Just like with everything, we have a strategy. Usually we have a sense of where are we trying to go. And based on that, we create business plans. I'm going to bring here this canvas that comes from Strategizer. It is, there are two guys, is Alex Osterwalder and Yves Pignon, I think is his last name is. What they are looking at here, they have done a lot of research and they have a lot of experience when it comes to this this field. They have created this portfolio of business models, and they say that a product can be either in an exploration mode or in an exploitation mode, right? And in exploration mode, we are looking for products that we are inventing, and we are initially, so they are early in their stage of, designing and becoming a product. But here on the exploitation, we are looking for products that have shown to be successful and are more now into that growth and that improvement. So if we bring the features and if we say, okay, we have a product, but we are probably trying to see if we bring a new feature in this product, those features from the counter model, those attractives and delighters, they fall into this area, right? Or it can be even a completely new product for an organization, but something that is new falls into this area. But when it comes to other features that we are more into performance and competition, they fall into this area. So either on a feature level or on a product level or on a portfolio of product levels, we need to understand where are we with what we are investing on and where the money is going. So what do you think so far? I don't want to go any further. Any questions or any, I don't know if these models were first for you and if this are raising questions for you.
Well, I think this is great, and I completely agree with you from the attractiveness piece that becomes must be, and it's always so interesting how fast that happens, right? Depending on the how fast people actually they embrace that feature or they need that feature in their lives. And I remember the same example when we had the heated seats, right? So
yes.
You buy the first car and then you consider like, oh, I'm not going to buy another car without them. So, especially during the winter. So I really like that.
Yeah. And it used to be that gap between being that delighter and until the others catch up with you used to be wide.
Right.
Now it's very quick, right? Because with technology, with the thinking, everybody has access to the same kind of technology, to the same models, to the same things that you have. And if they see that you did this, they can very quickly catch up. So you have right now a very short window to actually stay ahead with something that is completely brand new, or something that nobody has ever done before.
So I think, like if anyone else has a question, but my question on this model here is that do we see this as a step one, step two type of view from a portfolio level? Like first we should do the exploration part and then we should get into the exploitation, or it's more like, like it depends. Sometimes you do the one, sometimes you do the other, sometimes you do combine.
I believe that it is more, you need to start with exploration because you cannot exploit something that you don't know yet. And that exploration sometimes can last even longer. So one interesting example that they bring is Nestle. They had those coffee machines. And their model at that time was that they were selling the coffee machine with the little cups that you put in and that makes the good coffee. That was a business model that was a business to business. They were selling those machines to businesses, right? So as an employee, you would go to work and, oh, I have such a good coffee at work. They have this machine and everything, right? And they were really well aware of a customer, right? How to deal with businesses. The product was working well. And they were doing really well until it started like falling a little bit off and the revenues were not doing great. At that point, they were thinking, maybe this is the time to end the life of this product because we have explored and probably even exploited and there is no more to get out of this product. So maybe we should end life it. And then a new CIO came and he looked at it and he said, I don't think there's anything wrong with the product. We just need to think of this differently. So he changed the business model and he made it B2C. He brought this now to the customers. He made it available on the store. So anyone can go and buy this coffee machine. Now it was not expensive, was not big, and anyone could have it on any store, on Walmart, on anywhere, right? By changing that business model, he just opened up now a completely new market that now is more on the exploitation of the same product. The product hasn't changed, but the way that is being used and how is it being pulled, it is now different and is creating more needs, and it's now on that exploitation. So I hope that that example helps you see your product or your feature in these two modes.
Right. And I see that from a boosting perspective, right? Because you're boosting your growth, right?
Yes.
Through these different strategies that you can have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, let's look into how value looks into these. So why did I bring that model? I believe the value is different if we look on exploration and exploitation. On exploration, the value is about understanding the customer. It's so much important to, do we really know what the customer wants? Do we really know what this customer is looking for? So that customer understanding is really valuable there. We also want to look for context clarification. Sometimes we have assumptions. I mean, not sometimes, but we usually in this period of product evolution, we are working with assumptions and with hypotheses that we constantly need to clarify our context, our assumptions. Are we thinking this well? The willingness to pay for the customer. Are the customers, they probably say that, yeah, this is a cool one, but no, I don't really want to buy it. So now you also understand, is there a product for revenue profit there? You understand proven interest, right? Are customers really staying with you and are telling others, or are they just coming, looking at what's going on and never coming back to you? Indication of profit, so connected with willingness to pay, right? Can we actually grow on this? Proven business model for a small scale. So just like we said, like B2B, it works in here. Now we're not looking for all kind of clients, but we are proving it that in one business model is work. And then another interesting one that we do here is investing on losers. Is an interesting stats that they got there. They said that there are organizations that invest on 250 ideas, but only one of them makes it to be a mega success. And mega success is something that goes to the exploitation and keeps bringing that revenue, right? And it becomes a brand. You cannot find the winner without investing in the loser. And I want to say that again. You cannot find the winner without investing in the loser. This is so important. And this requires a very different way of thinking, of leading, of prioritizing, that organizations that are in exploitation mode cannot even think like that, right? Because they are more into, now we are in the, if we look into the exploitation, we are looking for efficiencies, right? We are looking for managing risk, while here, risk is all we have. We love risk in here. This is like, we thrive in risk, we thrive in chaos, we thrive in the unknowns. But in this area, we are now a little bit more calculated. And we expand to the customer segments, while here we just didn't know if we have a customer segment. We increase profits here, right? We bring also regulations and compliance. Example, Uber. Initially, Uber just started and didn't really care about any laws or any regulations that it came. It just created a product, created a community, started in some areas that they could enter, and they proved that it is a valid solution, it is a valid product. Then when they started scaling and moving into exploitation, then they had to deal with also laws and regulations that were mandatory for them to enter in now into these larger markets. So what else? Speed on execution, right? We still need to execute with speed because competition is either one step ahead or one step behind you. And then performance, right? We need to look into that line in the Kano model, the middle line, where there is always that performance, there is always a competition. So 2 different ways of looking at your products and your features, and 2 different ways that we decide what value is. Because depending where we are, we need to value the right thing. So what do you think of this? I want to hear some ideas from the group here. Do you have any feature or any product right now that you are working on that you don't know where you are, but maybe this can help you? And if you are speaking, you are on mute. Don't be shy.
Is there anything here that speaks of the disruption? So I understand there is an increased profit, but you're investing and you don't know, or like more of like you're just about to embark on an idea and you want to test it out and just trying to map it, like where does it fit here?
Usually disruption falls into the exploration because you are inventing either a new approach or you are inventing a new way to solve customers' problem. So I would really put it in that area there. That doesn't mean that we don't disrupt on the exploitation, but when you disrupt something in exploitation, I believe you are now bringing a portion of that product down into an exploration, and you're starting a new cycle. So think about it. On top of that, this pink block here, you are starting a green one that is now going to grow up and up, right? Because usually we grow on top of something that we have, or on top of a group of things that we have, and we disrupt that.
Yeah, and I was thinking about the same thing, like when Questrade entered the market, right, and disrupted this investment world.
Yes.
It was very traditional to meet with your advisor, have these one-on-one sessions. Everything was paper, and you couldn't invest on your own unless you had an advisor. And then Questrade entered the market, disrupted all companies and the all business models. And it was a great opportunity for these organizations to change, because Questrade also changed the regulations.
Yes.
They talked to the regulators and they actually streamlined the process.
Yeah.
Of how you invest and the risk questionnaire and all those things.
Yeah. So I see disruption as creating, now spinning off a new green box out of a existing pink one, or probably another green on green, right? You probably have gone a little bit up to a certain point with your invention here, with your exploration, and now you are disrupting that because you learned something good. Okay. Okay, I want to pull your ideas here. Based on what the value is, how should we work on exploration, and how should we work on exploitation? So how should we work in exploration? What are we looking for when we are in that mode?
You are inquisitive, right? You're just looking for ideas. You are open, you are receptive, and you're just looking for ideas, essentially.
Yeah. You are looking for ideas. You have questions you want to answer. Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
Attracting new users or customers.
Attracting or more exploring and learning from users. Yeah, because we still don't know if they are the right client for us. Good point. What about the exploration? How do we work there? Do I need to read?
Problem solving. Sorry, it's problem solving mindset, design thinking mindset, essentially, because now you know what the problem, like essentially you've explored it, now exploiting it.
Tell me more about the design thinking that you are bringing. Are you saying is that now on the delivery part of the design thinking?
Yes.
Yeah, we are more like that.
Yes.
So we are more into the execution, into making sure that we have good performance on execution. Yeah. Another way that I like to look at this is the goal here is to learn and earn. So see, I am putting learning as the very first thing, but earning, I'm not limiting the earning, right? I'm not saying don't make money. It's fine if you make money and you can be even profitable, make a lot of money there. But your main goal is learning in this one. And you learn with hypothesis and experiment, those questions that Jaya mentioned, right? So having questions and be inquisitive and be curious and go out and test more of these hypotheses and assumptions that we have. And then the innovation, right? Continuously innovate. While here, the goal is earn plus learn. Again, we want both elements, but now earning is a little bit ahead and it's the primary value-driven thing that we see. We do also here, we don't have hypothesis, or we might have some, but it's a lot of things are clear, a lot of things are understood. So we have some plans. We are able to have some plans. We are not constantly with hypothesis, working with hypothesis and questions. We are able to do certain amount of planning and then iterate on that. And I added innovation there as well. As you can see, we need innovation on both. It is this concept that only the fancy teams that do research or the fancy teams that do the fun new products, they are only the ones that innovate. I think innovation needs to happen on everything we do. Operations can innovate, customer experience can innovate, everything that seems like an old thing that we have been doing forever in organizations, they can innovate too. So I think innovation is definitely a part of this. There is a blog that I have written about learning releases. When I share my slides, feel free to go and read that. I talk more about the concept of a learning release versus earning release. I'm going to touch more on that a little later, but here it is. So this was kind of like a couple of models that I wanted to bring to you. The next thing is going to be for me to start talking a little bit more where to begin to think like this and to bring the value like this. Before I move there, any question? Or should I just move? Should I just start? Yeah, feel free. If you have questions, feel free to interrupt me. I'm okay to answer as we go. So where do we begin? We usually start with understanding our business model and understanding where we are with our product, right? So with this canvas in hand, very easily we can have those conversations. It seemed like a duh, we know where we are, but I can tell you that very often product owners have a hard time putting their product or certain features of their product in the right model, in the right place where we are. So it is not a bad thing to spend some time and clarify that and talk that together, because it's going to help everyone to align and get on the same page. The next thing is going to be make purpose and intention clear and visible to all. I cannot stress this enough. So in Agile practices, we talk about clarity and we talk about transparency. When intentions are clear and when what is valuable for us is clear, people can easily help you make the right decisions. People that are closer to the challenges, people that are the doers, can help you along the way with the thinking and the approach. So when we make it clear that we are in this mode, we are exploring, we are still learning, and we value the learning, and we value understanding of customers, and we value all of these things, then people understand that and work with you like that. You cannot be saying to people, oh, we are in a learning and we want to explore, but I want you to perform well and I want all the regulations and I want all the risks to be in place. They kind of contradict each other because a heavy process doesn't help with innovation. Innovation needs a little bit more creativity, a little bit more chaos. And a heavy process doesn't allow that. So make that clear and allow people to behave as expected on for what we're doing. And then understand your budget and how you fund your teams. You can see I'm not saying there how you fund just a feature or how you fund just a product or how you fund a component. I'm saying how you fund the team because I believe that teams are the ones that actually build products. This concept of building a product piece by piece with projects and one project here, one project there, and then somehow we build a product, I don't believe it is the right approach. And then organize teams with focus on customer value. How we have teams working together and how we tell to every team who is your customer affects a lot what the team delivers, affects a lot what the team prioritizes, affects a lot what the team solutions are made. When the customer is clear and the value is clear, then the team is also clear to achieve those goals and that value, right? Measure the value as per context. So now that we understand where we are when it comes to exploration, exploitation, we have made this very clear. We have a team that supports us on this vision and we have funded them properly. Now we can bring the right metrics in place. These are the things that we're going to measure as success, as value, right? The things that we mentioned, value for each of the models. And then there are also things that we need to do that are good for both modes. So no matter where you are in exploration and in exploitation, we need to get good at doing these things. And I'm going to talk just about 3 things here. One is intentional agility. One is for organization structure. The other one is continuous delivery. And the other one is supporting a learning culture. So I'm going to start with this. You probably saw my LinkedIn yesterday. I posted this picture there. Why do I think that intentional agility on org structure is important? So Dr. Conway, sometimes in the 60s or something like that, he created this law that we call it the Conway's law. And he says that practically what he says there is that the way that the product is designed tell you how the organization behind is designed and how these teams, organizations, these teams inside this organization communicate with each other. And I'm going to show you an example of how that looks like. Do you see my screen or I need to reshare? I might need to reshare. Not sharing now. Okay. Share. So here it is. Here it is on our website. This is Manulife. I'm not picking on them. I'm one of their customers. I am using this because I know, being a customer, I have seen this and it has frustrated me and always brings me back to understanding how Conway's law applies here very clearly. So if you go to Manulife, Manulife has many things. I'm going to pick just the two of them. One is the bank, and the other one is the insurance, right? These are the landing pages for sign in for both of them. They have the colors, okay, but if you can see here, this one has an icon for search and an icon for call, while this one has an icon and the words for search and an icon and contacts us text. So same company, same sign-in page, two different ways of presenting this. Let's go to the bank. There are two groups here, 6 links, right? Let's click that. Let's click online banking. Window, a new tab, completely. It gets me off from where I was. It opens me a new tab and says, here you go, log in. Remember this view? Let's try the other one. A very completely different view. It's not even green. It's gray, right? So from this to this. Let's try the third one. A very different shade of green, sorry. Different. Okay, let's go to the advisors. Another tab.
They were getting better in my view. So they were getting better. Now they went back to the green screens.
So here you go. It is one company. It's supposed to be at least one area of this large organization, the bank. 6 links, 6 tabs, 6 different looks. What does that tell me? That tells me that behind this, Manulife has 6 different teams that do not talk with each other. They probably have the same goals, the same revenues, the same OKRs and KPIs to reach, but they do not talk with each other. As a customer, I have very different experiences here. This is Conway's law in practice. This is exactly what Conway was saying when he says, organizations create teams that tell you how they communicate behind. So keep that in mind. So with that, what do we do? Well, what we do is most of the organizations have come to a point where they have learned to invert Conway's law. What they do is they go from the user's experience, from the user's point of view, they start backwards and they see what should the user's experience look like? How are these features that we build working together? How is this value that we bring to the customer integrated and works end-to-end well in order for us, for the user to have a good experience? And based on that, we then go into creating teams that support that way of delivery. When you hear value streams, when you hear journeys, right? This is where those terms are coming from. Now all the organizations are into, oh, we need to create a journey. Oh, we need to create a value stream. This is where it's coming from. It's coming from the concept of understanding what the value is for the customer and how we're going to deliver it in a smooth experience way. So very, very important to organize our structure intentionally to deliver value. The second one was continuous delivery. Who knows me probably has heard me talk before about continuous delivery. I love to talk about this. It is something that I believe it is a must right now for all the organizations. Here it is. My husband and I, Cheesy, we are very much our everything we do is about bringing organizations to a continuous delivery mindset, because we believe that when you are in that cycle of quickly delivering in the hands of the customer something, you are now able to test and get all those questions that you had very quickly and make those decisions and move forward. So the goal of the continuous delivery, while very much we talk from the technical point of view, it is very much a business and a product benefit, right? Because it helps now the business, it helps the product teams to run these experiments very quickly, right with the customers. We can see how the customers behave or respond to a change that we made or a feature that we offered. And that exploration mode can move us fast. When we said we're going to invest in 250 experiments to find the winner, this is the way to invest in 250 experiments. You invest just a little bit, very little, you see who's winning, and you keep with the winner, until you find that one that is the mega success. So because of that, we believe that continuous delivery needs to be driven by the business. While it is a technical term, and while it is always requires a lot of technical support, it gives all the benefit to business, and business needs to invest and business needs to support this. One of the ways that the business needs to do this is to separate the releases from deployments. Very often right now, when you go to organizations and you say, how often do you release? The release is the concept of code going, a whole bunch of code going in production, and then that also going in the hands of the customers at the same time. The modern way of working on this is by separating them, by making the deployment a technical decision. So we move changes in production and we hide them, or we make them visible only for a certain segment that we are testing, that we are exploring. But then make the releases a business decision. When the experiments are run, when the questions are answered, when some of our hypotheses have either been proven or disproven, and we have figured out how to move forward, then we are able now to wrap this, put it in a box, and ship it and release it with customers. So a bigger sense of release. And I can talk more about this if we have more questions. I'm going to go to the last one, which is the learning culture. We are not going to understand value if we stop learning, right? So value is something that always comes from the learning, from exploration, from that inquisition, from that curiosity. So we need to create organizations that have a learning culture. And for that, we are just required to give to people and to teams autonomy, to give them mastery, so a way for them to master their skills, to master their craft, right? Product owners and delivery teams and all of them needs to master their skills. And then also that continuous improvement mindset. It's useful on no matter what we do. And also access to information, access to data, access to what did we learn, access to what are we testing and what hypotheses are we running. So access into everything that we are doing to help them with the learning. So I'm going to show, this is a recap of the things we talked, but happy to take questions. I think I took you through some slides very quickly. Maybe we have some questions now.
So this was great. I mean, as we wait for questions, so the one thing that I notice in organizations is very hard for them to define value. So they always have this, when we talk about value, they always have like how do we define customer value? How do we even go there? And I think this was great, in just by showing how to start and how to get there.
Yeah. So yeah, there are different things that we do to decide value, right? So I want to go back to, I think I broke Keynote. So there are different elements that we want to do when we decide value, but we don't want to have probably too many, because then it becomes too much to understand. If we focus on understanding, first of all, the context we are in, if we focus on the values per context, what did I do? Okay, this is the problem with animation. You have to click many times. That is now going to help you with a bit more concrete metrics and OKRs to set, because you are now more easily understanding what is your concrete context. So here we go. So value per context.
Yeah, and that's what I like, because I think you need that context, and in order to get that context, you also need to understand your business. And I think that's also something that we see for these organizations. That I worked for an organization, for example, where the business people were not even customers, and I said, how do you understand what the customer needs when you don't even want to be a customer?
Yeah, you know what Facebook did? When we had BlackBerry long time ago, the Facebook app for BlackBerry didn't work well at all, and nobody cared. So what Facebook did, they forced the BlackBerry team to use BlackBerry. They gave them BlackBerries and said, this is your phone, your work phone, and you're going to use it, and you're going to figure out how to make our app work well on it. They were so frustrated that they became users, right? And they got to a point that they started improving their products.
I love it. I think that's the only way, you can taste your own drink.
Medicine, yes.
Any other questions?
Am I missing anything on the chat? I don't know if there's something in there.
Now it's a chance, you have Ardita here. Ask your questions. So yeah, very, very interesting concept. I mean, this has been very enlightening for me, especially that this topic is very close to our heart, from a product ownership perspective, and making sure that we deliver value. I think we're very good at measuring and identifying the process, like Agile, and how it works and how we do iterations. So we are very comfortable with that. But when it comes to what we actually deliver and how we measure, how much value we're giving to the customers, that's when we missing that context, right?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you something. An organization that is quite old is one of the large organizations and has been around for a very long time. Only 2 years ago, they started actually measuring the value after a project was finished, and see, did it meet what the project promised 5 years ago when it started? Just going back and measuring that is an improvement for some organizations, right? Because we only keep throwing money, we get things done, and then we move on without knowing if we actually did deliver that value that we promised we will do.
Right. So that has been, my experience everywhere, nobody going back to those benefits in the business case. Like it doesn't even matter what we put there in the end.
Yeah, and especially when projects, and if we work project based and they are long, we just finish a project and we call it a success. But when we work with agile teams and we have these intentional structures that support a customer on the journey, we run by small tests, by small experiments. And all of those teach us if we are expecting that benefit that we assumed we're going to have. So we don't wait for a long time to test that. We have these hypotheses and experimentations. Jay, I see your hand.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much, Ardita. Actually, you kind of, went to that zone which I was thinking of in terms of delivering value. It's sometimes like these days we are in such a fast-paced world that you are expecting the value to be delivered like now. Essentially, the difference between the exploration and exploitation is like minimalistic because you are running against the competition. But still, sometimes what has been your experience in terms of, what's the cycle of delivering value? When exactly the organizations can start working on the exploration and exploitation, and they can expect that they can deliver value? What does the chain look like, and how much time does it really take?
It is really case by case, and depending on what are we trying to, are we bringing a completely new product, or are we improving something existing, right? If we are improving something existing, I would expect that to go very fast. Because especially if we have this continuous delivery where we can go in production many times a day and we can run hundreds and thousands of experiments a day if we want, right? There are some organizations, search for it. There are some organizations that say we want to run 1,000 experiments a day. That is one of their KPIs. So to run 1,000 experiments a day, you need a way to contact your customer 1,000 ways a day, right?
Correct.
And website is not the only platform to offer that to you. So first we need to learn how to contact the customer quickly and how to get that information and those questions and those answers very quickly. But we also need product management to be very strategic here, right? Do we test everything, or there are some things that we probably are more strategic and we test a lot on those, but some things we just go by, let's go with this. And I know colors or something like that are probably less exploratory items on a product, right? Sometimes you follow a brand or something. Now think about it. When you are in Amazon, by the time you have selected a product to purchase, till the time that you have finished the transaction and you have completed everything, Amazon is running 30 experiments behind. 30. So you don't even know that you are part of these experiments. You are just, selecting a product, adding in the cart, going through transaction. But they are testing 30 things in parallel. Did you like this? I put the cart here. Was it easier for you? For someone else, they put the cart in a different place. Was it who responded faster? Who closed transaction faster, right? So these are the kind of the experiments that are easy when you are improving something that is existing. On new products, you might want to create probably teams that are more with that disruptive mindset that Vesna was talking about, because you are now trying to disrupt something that is existing or trying to disrupt a model that is already running, but you are creating now an exploration on top of something that is an exploitation. That might take a little longer. That might require a little bit more research, more tests, more hypothesis to tests around it. Probably 3 months, right? Remember that I said that you have to run 250, you have to invest in 250 ideas to mega success. So the way they did that, they have invested 3 months, and 5 months. Right? So let's get like 250 ideas on the first month. and you invest just enough, you give them just enough money, and then from 250, you go down to 40, to 49, I think. And then from 49, you go down to, 9. So this is how quickly you run these many experiments to find one that is running. But to have that, these are organizations that are now also organizing themselves into a place where they have, like we have a CIO that is all about running the organization and all of that. In the same level, they have a chief innovative officer that is strictly just for innovation, just for disruption, just for bringing these experimental ideas. And they have the same authority in the organization. They are in the same level. They have the same budgets, right? They are well supported, but they have these two different sides of the brain of the organization that are supported at the same time. Is a company in China that does that. They completely changed their model from a telecom to a medication because they were innovating and because they found that mega success like that. So it's depends where you are, depends what you're doing, depends how much you want to invest, depends how much desire is there from the organization to work like this.
Thank you so much, Ardi. We are at the top of the hour, so thank you. Like it's been very insightful, and the examples and everything. So that's what I love, when I have you and I talk to you.
Yeah.
Like you always put things in the context.
We can stay all night.
No, thank you.
I'm not going to talk, but here are some links that if you want to get in touch with me, I'm also running, I'm helping an organization, a conference, Experience Agile. This year they have a new program called New Voices. So people that have not had a chance to tell their stories or they are not heard, please nominate. I would love to bring some new voices in the community.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So Peter, now back to you to close it out.
Okay, and thank you very much, Ardita. That was very interesting and very enjoyable. So thank you.
Thank you.
As we will, the recording, we'll have it posted up in the next few days for those who want to hear this again or hear part of it again. Look for the email that will come out to you. So next webinar we have will be on May 21st. I think that's a Friday. It says Friday, doesn't it? There, I think it's a Friday. Yeah, it does say Friday there. Back at our normal time on noon, and we're very thrilled to have Mishkin Bertik here to talk to us about innovation and product ownership. So as you know, Mishkin is a thought leadership in the Agile field, and again, someone who we've been working with, and we're very pleased he agreed to come and chat with us about innovation and build on what Ardi was just talking about, the necessity for us to continue to experiment and try things and be innovative. So looking forward to having Mishkin here, and you can go to our website. Well, actually use the URL or the QR code to sign up. I'll have up on the website tomorrow at some point that you can go and sign up on our website, newgenp.com. So other exciting news that we have is that just available this week on PMI.com, well, ascent.pmi.com. We have a product owner course designed with PMI, product owners in action. So it's on their Ascent platform, which is their high quality platform for asynchronous learning. So please go and have a look there, the QR code to take you directly to the page, or just go to ascent.pmi. There's about 9 courses there, or the one at the bottom on the right-hand corner. There's a picture of our tile, and you can learn more about that. So please have a look there and tell your friends about that. And of course, finally, thank you again for attending and all your support. If you want to find out more about what we're doing, please go to newgenp.com. We've been busy. We've been speaking at a couple of PMI chapters, including the Washington, D.C. chapter, the largest one in the world. We're speaking at Atlanta on week Monday, another large chapter. So we've got a number of events coming up. So please keep an eye out for those. If you want to have a virtual coffee, just email us. And again, join us for Michigan on Friday, May 21st. Once again, thank you very much for attending. Have a good rest of your day and week.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Ardi. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.